We have a catalog. We actually print 8 catalogs a year, and we mail them out across the country. This last year, we mailed over 625,000 catalogs.
One, two, three.
Coming up, we're talking to a vertically integrated olive oil producer all about going direct to consumer from the farm. The Modern Acre podcast is presented by Corteva. Corteva is a global pure-play agriculture company that combines industry-leading innovation, high-touch customer engagement, and operational execution to profitably deliver solutions for the world's most pressing agriculture challenges. Corteva generates advantaged market preference through its unique distribution strategy, together with its balanced and globally diverse mix of seed, crop protection, and digital products and services. With some of the most recognized brands in agriculture and a technology pipeline well-positioned to drive growth, the company is committed to maximizing productivity for farmers while working with stakeholders throughout the food system as it fulfills its promise to enrich the lives of those who produce and those who consume, ensuring progress for generations to come. Check out Corteva at Corteva.com or check the link in our show notes.
All right, Ty, I said we weren't going to do it, but I think we got to hit on the Niners a little bit. We're 4-1. We had a little bit of a rocky start with injuries. Got a little mini bye here. How are we feeling?
You're going to jinx us, Tim. But I'm feeling good. The Niners were 8.5-point underdogs on the Thursday night game and somehow pulled out a win against all odds. It was a crazy game. I couldn't believe it. I thought we were going to lose basically the entire game, even though we had an early lead. So yeah, 4-1, very depleted from an injury perspective. So hopefully we get some people back and can build the momentum as we go through the season.
Yeah, it wasn't quite the roster we were expecting, but the vibes are really high. Mac Jones is a very serviceable backup. He's growing on me every week. I think the funniest story of the weekend was like the morning of the game. He was looking out from his hotel in Marina del Rey when they were playing down in LA and spotted a dead body in the water. So he's like solving crimes before he goes and balls out. Pretty cool.
Tim, if you talk to me about Mac Jones' aura one more time, I'm going to lose it.
Insane aura, Ty. Insane.
All right, we're going to jump into this conversation with Vincent Ricciuti of Enzo Olive Oil and PR Farms, all about going direct to consumer in olive oil. I think that, Tim, this was a really great conversation. We've been talking about going direct to consumer from the farm for years, since we basically started this podcast. And what we've seen is it's really hard to do. It's really hard to execute. Vincent's family has been doing it basically since they started. So they've kind of flexed that muscle over years and years and years and had the infrastructure over years and years and years. But we get into how he thinks about it, what they do, and it's really cool to see them do it.
Yeah, it's super cool talking to Vincent about kind of their approach in the world of social media and TikTok. You see a lot of kind of CPG brands, go viral and kind of get buzzy in that direction. And Enzo comes at it from a different perspective. They do a lot of physical mailers, which is pretty unique in the space. They still do a bit of digital, but just their whole approach is quite interesting, building that loyal following, that fan base, and also building kind of some seasonality into their business where they really push kind of holiday baskets and holiday gifting and leaning into that as a sales strategy.
Yeah, stay tuned all the way to the end because he gets into this mailer, and it's not really it's more than a mailer. It's a really high quality magazine that they do 8 times a year, and we touch on it at the end. And Tim and I were both super interested in this model of kind of going more back to physical, high quality magazine and how that's really driving a lot of return for Enzo. So definitely stick around to the end of the conversation. Hope you guys enjoy it. Let's jump in with what's top of mind for Vincent.
First of all, we're in the middle of almond harvest, so that's going on. We're in the middle of prepping for our olive harvest. So that's happening in 20 days or so. So that's also top of mind. But the biggest thing top of mind is for our brand, we are moving into a new store and for direct to consumer, and also for the first time we're launching inside of that new store, we're launching a cafe, so a full food service cafe and coffee shop in our retail store. So we had our onboarding today for the first batch of baristas, and so top of mind is something at the end of the food chain for agriculture is what's actually putting things on the plate. So that top of mind it's a loaded question. There's a lot going on right now.
I'm just surprised we were able to, land you in for an interview here. Getting a grower during harvest time, that is tough to accomplish. So I'm glad you could squeeze us in.
I appreciate you being flexible because we already had to move the time once for today. So again, I appreciate you.
No, we're excited we get the opportunity to chat with you. Vincent, let's level set here. Would love to learn a little bit more about you, your story, and kind of what led you into agriculture.
Yeah, so I'm the fourth generation in our family's farming business. Only the second generation on both sides of my family born here in the United States. Both sides of my family come from Italy, so I'm 100% Italian, and settled down here in the San Joaquin Valley. In the Fresno Clovis area. I grew up in agriculture. I grew up working in our packing house and all kinds of things during the summer. So there was, most of my friends got to go and do fun things during the summer and go on things. I had the privilege of working in our packing house for stone fruit and all that fun stuff. So agriculture runs deep for me. And I think for my story, that's where it starts in my youth. And I went to Fresno State for studied ag business. But there was a crossroads, and in 2005, it sounds similar maybe to your guys' experience in your own lives, where I was actually working as a director of football operations for Fresno State football, it would have been January of 2006. 2006. I went to the NFL Combine in Indianapolis and interviewed with a couple of NFL teams and to be in their front office. And I got home from that trip, and my then boss, Coach Hill, Pat Hill, who's head coach of Fresno State, grabbed me by the ear and said, "Hey, what are you doing? You can go to the NFL and spin your wheels on this football thing, or you can go home and make an immediate impact in your family business tomorrow." And we had a really nice heart-to-heart, and to put it bluntly, and that next day I went and talked to my dad and kind of worked things out, and the rest is history. I got started in the family business and full-time after college. I'd always worked there, but and always knew I was going to end up there. But there was a slight detour in the middle there.
What a cool story, Coach Hill. That's really good advice of you're on this kind of trajectory and to take a step side of what are you doing? You have this good opportunity to make impact, to get that kind of direct feedback. I think was probably super valuable. Yeah,
for sure. And he loves telling that story too to this day. So it's for sure. It was the right decision. The only regret, no regrets, but the only regret was one of the teams that offered me a position with the Indianapolis Colts, and they won the Super Bowl that year, so I would have had a ring after 1 year. So that's the only, if there's regrets, that'd be the only one. But I know it was definitely the right decision.
All right, Vincent. Well, let's get kind of the lay of the land of the businesses. I think something that pops up often when we're talking to farmers is kind of stacking multiple enterprises within the operation. There's a farming side, there's usually packing, processing, there could be trucking. So give us kind of the lay of the land with your current operation.
Yeah, we're vertically integrated basically in everything that we do currently. So we have PR Farms, which is predominantly the farming side of the company. PR Farms vertically integrated on the farm side and our almonds. So we have an almond operation where we farm thousands of acres of almonds. We have our own Polar Sheller. We have our own marketing department where we market those almonds globally, and we ship around the world. We also have Enzo Olive Oil Company. PR Farms is the farming entity for Enzo. So PR Farm farms the olives, harvests them, and then Enzo takes it on from there. So Enzo mills and bottles and markets the olive oil after it's made. And then also on top of Enzo, we have Enzo's Table, which is a retail store and a retail operation, more of our direct to consumer leg of the company, if you will. We where we market directly to the consumer. We have our website and we have all of our different channels, which I could talk to a little bit later on about it, how we actually attract those customers into our business. And then we also have a bakery. We have Enzo's Table Bakery, where we bake all of biscotti. So we're using the almonds that we grow. We use pistachios that we grow in the biscotti. We have a plethora of lines of things that we take from the farm and then convert it into a finished product, whether it's our almond butter, obviously olive oil. We have jam that comes from fruit from our ranch that we make in jam. A whole list of products. So it's a busy day here on the regular, if you can imagine.
Vincent, I want to get into this whole, vertically integrated direct to consumer model. Like, talk to us a little bit more about the origin of that. Has that always been the case where it's you guys have been vertically integrated? And if not, what has been the evolution of it?
My entire life, we've been vertically integrated in everything that we try to do. I can't say that's the same for when my dad was my age or with my grandfather. They were the ones that really spearheaded those actions, and a lot of it on the almond side. I remember, I've heard stories of this, right? So it's growing almonds. My grandfather did not like waiting in line to get his almonds processed at a huller or sheller, and so he wanted to do it himself, and he figured out a way to build his own huller sheller 50 years ago, and then we've just kind of built up on that. Same thing with the stone fruit. Always wanted to control our own destiny, control how we, not be dependent on somebody else and their quality and their standards and everything else. And so everything that from my youth forward, we always had our own packing house from the stone fruit. We always had our own huller sheller. We kind of always controlled our own destiny. And then we took that same mindset for the olive oil. Right. So when we decided, so in 2008, if you don't mind me going a little bit back, telling the full picture here. In 2008, we were going strong with almonds and stone fruit, but stone fruit was kicking our butt, and it was kicking the industry's butt. No one was really, really hard at that point with labor costs and everything else, and to make a lot of money or to make money in stone fruit. And so we made a decision in 2008. I made a presentation to the family that, hey, this makes sense where let's transition out of stone fruit. Almonds are doing well. Let's grow that business. We already have the huller. It's not at capacity. Like we can go here. And so we did that change. We made that decision as a family in 2008. And then at that same time, we also said, hey, let's still be diversified. Let's do something else. Made the presentation to go into olive oil. And so November of 2008, we planted our first olive trees for oil. And then we took the time that it takes to plant to harvest, and that's 3 years, to really plan the business, how we were going to sell that olive oil. And that's something that was fully put onto my plate. We had figured out the marketing plan, the milling plan. My grandfather on my mother's father, on my mother's side, he and I went to Italy for 3 weeks and traveled throughout Italy and met with different mill manufacturers, people that actually make the machines. And we ended up buying a mill, installed it in 2011, and in November of 2011 we had our first crush of olive oil, and the rest is kind of history. We didn't know what we were doing in 2011 by any stretch of the imagination. I actually, that first day of milling, I thought I made the worst decision of my life. Like, what are we doing here? But fast forward, we've won over 500 different awards across the globe in quality competitions in Italy and Japan and across the U.S. and it's been a great ride.
That's super cool. Yeah, I guess we're close to 15 years in here, so I'm sure you have a lot of learnings in the olive oil space. Let's dig into this a little bit.
That makes me feel old, man.
Vincent, I've seen like a ton of documentaries about kind of like the quality and authenticity of olive oil, like extra virgin olive oil. There's a lot going on here. Like I've seen olive oil at the store that's like marketed as a global blend, and it's like some California olive is mixed in with Argentinian and Australian, and it's like I think consumers are a little bit unaware of what's happening. And like in our local market in Lodi, there's a few kind of bespoke olive oil producers that's like, where the olives are coming from, and it's a much higher quality product. So maybe just talk to us about kind of the olive oil market in general and how you kind of position this kind of up level, up market product.
Yeah, for us, we kind of took, with our experience in stone fruit and being a commodity, right? And so same with almonds, it's a commodity. My almond is no different than the guy's almond down the street. So no matter how bad as a farmer or as a grower you want to believe it is better, it's really the same thing. So we really wanted to differentiate ourselves from the other brands that were on the shelf. One of the ways that we did that with Enzo was we wanted to make it organic. And so Enzo olive oil, every olive that goes in every bottle is 100% organic, estate grown, extra virgin olive oil. And yeah, there's at scale that's hard to do, right? If you want to be on every grocery store shelf across the country, the amount of olive oil needed for that is a lot. And so, are there other brands out there that are doing a good job with quality and blending other countries? Yes, there are. Are there ones that are not? Of course. And it's trying to find those brands. I mean, you bring up Lodi, the two brands there that do a nice job in Lodi are Corto and Cali Virgin, right? They do a really nice job. And they're friends of mine. And then the other one I think you alluded to was California Olive Ranch, where you have the California blend and you have their global blend. And so California Olive Ranch, I believe, they're the 800-pound gorilla in the room, and they're on every grocery store shelf. I call them a gateway drug, right, to Enzo. You go, you try California Olive Ranch, you discover it, it's at a fair price, they do a great job on quality. Then you want to level up to a brand like me, like Enzo or Cali Virgin or one of those brands. And I think that we're that next, what you graduate, right? Like you go from Starbucks to the cool barista down the street, right? You need these different layers in the marketplace for scale. The amount of olive oil, California Olive Ranch is probably close to I don't know 1 million gallons or something. Like that's not even I can't even imagine having that much olive oil. But from our standpoint, we want to make the highest quality and deliver it to the consumer at their doorstep, and that's kind of what we built our brand around.
Vincent, I have maybe a difficult question. I don't know. If your operation wasn't vertically integrated and you were not going direct to consumer, do you think that the farm would survive? Like, do you think that how do these things work together? And when we're experiencing a down market in a lot of crops in California, do you think that being vertically integrated, being direct to consumer insulates you from some of the market dynamics that test other farmers?
Yeah, so that's a great question. That's a hard question because we're playing with a lot of hypotheticals there. But I think that from our standpoint on the Enzo side of things, we're really able to curate and cultivate our customer base. And so we're able to go out, find them through the ways that we do that, and continually market to people that like our products. And so, and we now have our base, and every year the goal is to keep adding to that base, and so it insulates you a little bit. And I can go back. I'll give you. I mean, you're probably alluding to more farm activities of you have water issues, and you have all these. There's all those issues. But then, from a marketing standpoint and a throughput standpoint, I'll look at what happened in 2020. Right. Let's look at what happened through COVID. Our brand grew 300% in 2020, and it's because we had spent the last, I don't know how many years before that, 7 years or something like that, laying the brickwork of cultivating our direct-to-consumer channels so that when April hit and we were all at home and trying to figure out life, and not, our wives weren't really wanting to go to the grocery store. I didn't really want to go to the grocery store. People were just operating differently. I called our catalog printer and was like, hey, I think people are going to be home. Can you double my print? Right. So we grew our mailing list X number of times over that, April, May, June, where we had the May of 2020 was like December of 24. Like we put up that big of a number in May. And so from that point on, we were able to keep our customers because they tried our product, they liked it, and they've stuck with us, and we've continued to grow through that channel. So I think that there is a segment of a farmer on the ag side for every build, right? There's always going to be a grower that just wants to be a grower. They're a great grower. They don't have to worry about anything else. And I think that still exists. I do, and I think that's going to exist for a long time just because you need product. Like even the big guys will need more to feed their machine, right? They won't have enough acreage on their own. Now, are you insulated with that? No, but hopefully you picked the right horse of what you planted, right? So, and then there's the vertically integrated guys are on a medium size that have outside growers, and it just, you're building on your complexity, but as you do that, you're building with scale and you're insulating yourself more. And so, the more you're able to control the channel, I do believe the better off that you are, because you only have one person to blame at the end of the day when it comes down to it, when it's you. So
want to jump back kind of towards the farming side, Vincent, and just talk about, you mentioned organic farming. We talk a lot about regenerative agriculture and ag tech adoption. Maybe talk to us about any kind of technologies you're using on the farm that have been really ROI positive for you.
Yeah, so on the farm side, we've gone pretty deep into on the tech side for irrigation and irrigation monitoring, and so we use WiseCon sensors on all of our ranches. We have we work with a service provider called Ag Monitor, and what they are able to do with the data that WiseCon gets and with our aerial flyovers and all of the things for all the data that we're compiling. We have a member on our team that crunches that data with Ag Monitor on a weekly, so that we're telling our irrigators down to the block of how much water to put on that ranch every week. So that's probably where we spent the biggest focus in the last, I don't know, since 15 years or so. And it doubles down on the olive oil side. We've been able to learn what we knew with the almonds and also take it over to the olive oil side, to where on olives, we're doing samples every other week of the olives to see what the moisture and the oil content is in those olives, so that we can then put another line on that graph tracking the oil production in the olive, so that we know when to harvest. A little bit like they do in wine, right? They're measuring bricks. Only with us, we were measuring fat. So, so with all of that data, it's building the story of when to harvest, giving us a projection of how harvest is going to look on the olive oil side. I would say that's the biggest tech area has been with our water usage.
Vincent, I want to get into retail. You mentioned at the top some updates and some exciting innovations you're doing in that space. Can you maybe give us the overview of kind of how did that materialize and give a little more color on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've always had a farm store. Like, I mean, there's a picture in our store now of my grandfather standing when he was 16 years old, standing at a roadside stand with produce that he grew, trying to sell it. The sign's beautiful. It's lettuce for 5 cents. I can't even think of lettuce at 5 cents, but that's what his sign said when he was 16 years old. And so over time, we always had this store. It's always had different renditions. And the newest one is our new flagship, which we're building today. And it's about 5,500 square feet. And inside of it is everything that we make and grow. So like it has our olive oil, it has our vinegars, our almond butters, our jams, our biscottis, our olives, our all of our different flavored nuts and different dried fruits and things. And again, now we're adding on to that, and we're adding Il Cafe at Enzo's Table, where we are we've designed a beautiful Italian Roman style coffee bar, where people can come in and get a very high level cup of coffee, and during the breakfast hour we'll have a frittata, we'll have breakfast sandwiches, all yogurt parfaits. Again, using all of the things that we grow. So like our yogurt parfait, for example, yogurt, but then we'll have granola that we bake using our almonds and pistachios and olive oil that we bake at our bakery. We'll have our almond butter. It will have our jam. It's layering in all these different things that we make and presenting it for the end consumer. At lunch, we're doing fresh baked focaccia sandwiches with our with focaccia coming out of our bakery, with pesto that we make with our almonds and just different things, and then a wine bar at night. But again, every level of the food experience is inviting people into our home and to showcase the things that our farm makes and the things that we make, and inviting them into that total brand experience. And the hope is that they like what they have at the cafe, and then they exit through the gift shop and take some biscotti home with them, or a bottle of olive oil. And so just continuing trying to find ways to market our own products and get them in front of more people.
That's a super cool concept, and that's located in Fresno?
Yeah, Clovis technically, but yeah. Fresno's one side of the street, Clovis is the other, literally. So we're on the Clovis side of the street.
Nice. And quick menu question for you on the coffee menu. Are you going to have cold brew?
There will be a cold brew, yes.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know. Ty and I are big cold brew fans, so yeah. Next time I'm grabbing through Fresno, I'll grab my cold brew there. That's perfect.
Perfect. On the marketing side of things, I think how we market to our customers is it's kind of like our special sauce as a brand. And so we have our website, obviously, but I alluded to this earlier in my COVID example. We have a catalog. We actually print 8 catalogs a year, and we mail them out across the country. This last year, we mailed over 625,000 catalogs, and you can imagine those postage bills. But what we do is we market we have our base, our customer base of people that have bought from us before, but then we go through a service of renting names, and we mail new prospects, people that have bought things of similar things, and hopefully that they will buy from us. And if they do, that's when we then will continue to mail them catalogs. And that has made Enzo we specialize in holiday gift giving. And so we have gift boxes and all kinds of things ready for the holidays. And, for Enzo, 60% of our revenue comes between November and December, right? So we're coming to a different kind of harvest, a holiday harvest period as well. So that's where we spend a lot of our time. The majority of our time is driving people to our website to purchase from us, and hopefully, Tim, if you've been good this year, hopefully Tyler gets you a nice Enzo's Table gift for Christmas, and that's totally the angle that we work on.
All right, Vincent, you piqued my interest with the physical mailers 8 times a year. Like that's pretty interesting. Like we talk to a lot of companies, and it's all digital marketing of Facebook ads and trying to like gamify that on social media, doing kind of ad campaigns around that. I think physical mail is like an underserved, underlooked area right now where it's not quite as sexy. So maybe talk to us about kind of that strategy and its effectiveness.
Yeah. So there's nothing more, beautiful than when a catalog gets mailed to your home and you physically have something in your hands, right? And it's expensive. It's way more expensive than social media advertising, but it also has amazing results because you can really learn who your customer is and invoke emotion into them, and like, oh wow, look at this recipe, go online. Like the goal for us is we spend a lot of time and money on photography and and everything else and planning it. It's like we're trying to make more of a magazine almost that people can sit down with a cup of coffee, flip through it, enjoy it, learn get a recipe, all those types of things. And then ultimately, obviously, the goal is for them to order products from us. Whereas, we do all those other things too. We have meta advertising, we have email campaigns, we do all of that. But it's very hard to get in front of people and get them to click versus when it shows up in your mailbox, you're going to look at it. If it's beautiful, you're going to look at it. And if you don't, your wife might, or she might be like, hey, you know what, this, I think my mom would really enjoy this catalog. Then she hands it to that person. And so it's this physical thing that people come to love and expect from us. Again, we have a team that works on it, and it's again, we're always working on one. We have 8 a year. There's always one that you're kind of continually working on and designing. We had a photo shoot a couple weeks ago. It's 3 days, right? And those photos will last us for a few months this year for the most part. And so it's just always changing, but it's also a lot of fun.
Totally. And there's a big distinction in terms of traditional ads and just trying to push a transaction, which you need. That's important. Ads work. Ads are an important part of the business. But what you're doing, I see as, it seems like it's an effective marketing tool, but it's a brand builder. You're building brand. You're building brand love. And with especially in farming, agriculture, like, I think that's so important because you need to build these true fans that just love the product, love the brand. And I think that's what you're doing with this magazine that you can't get otherwise.
Yeah. And we're constantly telling the story, right? So when harvest is happening, like our September catalog, we talked about harvest, right? We talk about what's going on the ranch, like what's going on. It's not a huge amount. It's like one page of an update, but like for our normal customers, they really enjoy that. All right. And if you're new to us, you're now learning about what we're doing and what we're about. It's a great tool. And we started doing it in 2012. And, I remember when we first started, 5 online orders, we were excited. Right. Or during the holidays when we would do like those early years when the UPS end of day, like I loved the Monday one because it was an accumulation of Friday afternoon, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So that number was always big for that UPS driver. Like, and when we hit 300 on that weekend sweep, I was so ecstatic. And now 300 is like what we do on a Monday, right? So on order. So it's like it's seeing that organic growth and that sustained growth has been truly rewarding. And but you got to have a lot of patience when you build this way because we're not going viral. We're not Graza, for example, where we're spending $1 million on social media advertising. Like this is for the long haul, building a brand that's going to last.
Love what you're up to, Vincent. As we wrap up here, how can our listeners get in touch and connect with you and everything going on at Enzo?
So visit our website, enzostable.com. You can also find us on Instagram, and go to our website, sign up for a catalog, and you'll get the next one in the mail. And so I appreciate your time today and letting me tell my family story.
So, Ty, what do you think of that conversation with Vincent?
I mean, I just love this magazine idea and like the wheels were turning. Tim, should we do a Modern Acre magazine? We've done it all. We've done merch. We've done NFTs. We've done, I don't know what else we've done, but should the next frontier be going back in time and doing a magazine? What do you think? I'm just springing this on you.
Ty, I love where your head's at. I mean, I think we talked earlier in the year. We have like 4 different jobs going on right now. We said we're kind of tapped out this year. So I'm just going to say let's reassess this after the new year. I think we're in Q4, so I'm just going to punt this off to next quarter, Ty.
You don't want to try to sprint a magazine in before the holidays?
I'm trying to sell a few more farmer mode hats.
Seriously, farmermode.com. Check out our awesome Farmer Mode hat. Makes a great gift. So check that out at farmermode.com. We appreciate you guys listening. We'll be back next week.